Alright, so what we're going to talk about now is a close quarters combative technique. As opposed to boxing and kickboxing with somebody, throwing a whole bunch of punches and such, we're going to try and resort to something that requires less muscular effort, less strength, less precision, because when you're in a real fight and you're adrenalized, most of those fine motor skills go out the window and you have to rely on gross motor skills. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is something a friend of mine, Richard Dimitri, likes to call shredding. Okay? And the best way to describe that is if you imagine that you have magnetic razor blades on the end of your fingers, and their head is a magnetic steel ball. Okay? You're going to attach your fingers to that, and you're going to rip and tear as you go across their face. Now you can be as vicious with this as you want, or you can downgrade it. If I tear his eyeballs out, and I grab his nose and break his nose across his face, or I grab a hold of the hinge of his jaw and rip that off, or I tear an ear off, I'm doing significant damage, which I can easily do with the shredding technique. I can also downgrade it so just the pads of my fingers are pulling and dragging across his face, and the natural autonomic response when somebody does that to you is to reach up and pull the hands away and move the face away, which makes them defensive rather than offensive. It also sets up other opportunities for us to do things like, say, knee him in the groin or something along those lines. So, basic shredding, we're going to start from either a position where we like to use this as our combat stance. It's a conversational position. Or we can use something in just simple indexing where I'm standing off of him. Hey man, it's cool, I don't want to have a problem. Okay? So either one of these positions where our hands are up ready to defend ourselves while we're talking to this guy. Okay? When I determine that it's time for me to attack, when he moves in and starts being aggressive with me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach my fingers to his face and start twisting on him. Now I can take him down, okay? I can dig his eyeballs out, I can grab that nose and break his nose over the side, grab the hinge of his jaw and pull it out, okay? So while I'm shredding, he's already defensive, which sets him up nicely for whatever strikes I want to throw from there, okay? The shredding technique is a basic staple of close quarter combatives. We can also add impact strikes to that, again, if we don't want to do a significant amount of damage to this guy, or I'm simply more comfortable using strikes than I am really hurting somebody with, eye gouges and such. What I can do is I can use this same skill where I grab a hold of his face and set him up for a hammer fist, okay, where I can continue to hammer fist him or elbow him in the head, okay? And these things can happen really fast because I can be shredding and hammer fisting and elbowing one right after the other, creating a whole lot of damage. It's going to stun him, it's going to drop him down lower. So whether you're a striking type or a grappling type, it feeds really nicely into whatever your style happens to be. Off of talking to this guy, I don't have to wait for him to actually do something to me before I have the right to defend myself. Most people don't recognize that assault and battery are two different crimes. Assault simply means intent coupled with the present ability. So if Craig's facing me and he postures up and he's going, okay, this shows that he's being aggressive, okay? He is in my personal space, and, Craig's a fit guy, he's muscular, he's strong, he looks aggressive. Well, is it reasonable to assume that if he hits me, it's going to hurt me? Yeah, okay? So he can reach me from here. If he wanted to throw a punch and punch me in the face, he's in range, okay? So if he postures up and gets into my personal space, that's assault. He is demonstrating with his body language that he has negative intent. Okay? He has the present ability to hurt me because he can hit me with his hands, he can kick me, knee me, whatever. Okay? So he is already attacking me. Battery is when he physically touches me. If he pushes me, that's battery. Okay? Assault and battery usually happen together, which is why you hear those terms linked. Okay? So my hands are going to be up, I'm going to be defensive. I'm not going to wait for him to batter me before I attack him back. So as soon as I perceive he's actually going to hurt me, that's where I shred. That's where I start hammer fisting and throwing those elbows and knees. Okay? So it's a basic gross motor skill set that will function when you're under adrenal stress. You don't have to be very precise like with karate shots or boxing punches or such. Also, you don't run the risk of breaking your knuckles on their skull. The skull is like a bowling ball. If you punch that with a closed fist and you hit him, say, in the forehead, you're very likely to fracture your hand. Whereas when your hands are open like this, you're not having that same problem. And when you hit with the pad of your arm and your forearm with those hammer fists, your hand absorbs a lot more shock and it's a softer surface for you. So, just something to consider when you're in close range and wanting to initiate some kind of impact.